Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all healthy, happy and well. If you're new here, then my name is Amelia and welcome. Now, as you can see, I'm not on the yard. Cash is not here and Rocky is not here. Instead, I'm sat on the floor of my living room. So just bear with this whole filming arrangement and hopefully I'll be able to sit still. Bit of a fidget. But yeah, I thought today's video we could have a little discussion about something that's very important when it comes to horses. Oh, please ignore my burn on my head if that comes into show at any point. My messy hair and my really wonky fringe. But here we are. This is me. I do have my dogs in here, so if at any point they start barking, then let's ignore it. They think that they're guard dogs, and every noise, it could be even just a spider falling silently on its web, my dogs will bark and pretend it's a person. So yeah, it's really good for the anxiety. But anyway, welcome. Pause this video, go get yourself a snack and some drinks. I've got myself a little Diet Coke. I might have a little sip now actually. I want to do that off camera because it's a bit weird, isn't it? Anyway, welcome. Let's get going with the video. So, as you can tell by the title, today's topic is all about things to consider before buying a horse. And this also applies to whether you're loaning and leasing, because you will be financially responsible for that horse. Okay, I've written a few things down, but if I forget any, then please comment below. Let's start a conversation. Now, the reasoning why I'm doing this video, because you're probably thinking, well, surely everybody knows what to look for already. Well, they don't. They don't. And I have met quite a few people over the last year or so, especially since lockdown, that want to buy a horse, want to have their own horse, because it's something they used to do when they were younger, and finally are in a situation where they can do it and they don't know where to begin. So maybe this video will reach someone that needs to see it, or just can give you something to consider. Okay. So, let me move my phone out of the way. The first thing, and the most important thing, unfortunately, is before you look at even loaning, leasing, or buying a horse, you need to make sure your finances are in order. Okay, you need to make sure you can actually afford this. It is a big commitment financially, as well as time and everything else, but we're talking about finances right now. So, the first thing, you need to make sure you've got an initial lump sum of money to pay for that horse. You are buying, so you need money to buy, okay? But that money, okay, you need to take into consideration that you will need to get your horse vetted. Obviously, it's optional, it's up to you, but if you do want to get your horse vetted, then that's going to be quite a large chunk of money, okay? I can't remember how much it was to get Cash two-stage vetted. So I only got a two-stage vetting because she was unbroken, and it would be highly unlikely, well no, you just can only have a two-stage if they're unbroken because you've got no one to ride it. And yeah, anyway, I'll have a little look and maybe write below how much that cost me. But yeah, you need to consider the price of getting your horse vetted, okay? Also, you need to make sure you've got enough money for tack and rugs for your new horse, okay? Not all horses come with their full tack and full wardrobe, and sometimes you might get given a saddle that was not necessarily like fits you, okay, or fits the horse that well. So this is just things you need to consider with saddles and bridles and stuff like that. It's not just one size fits all, which for those of you who are brought up in the equine industry, know a lot about horses, you probably think I'm just saying the most obvious things, but you'd be surprised that not everybody knows that, okay? So you need to make sure you've got enough money to buy tack that actually fits your pony or horse, and rugs, particularly if you're buying a horse now in winter. In the UK, winter is freezing and wet and miserable. We've been okay where I am recently, but it's only going to get worse, and I'm well aware of that. So yeah, you need to take into consideration that as well, okay? In terms of finances, while we're on the topic, you need to, if you're going to be keeping your horse at livery, you need to make sure that you can afford to pay livery. And obviously there's lots of different types of livery. So whatever you decide is right for you, you need to be able to pay for it, okay? You need to make sure it's got the hay, or if it doesn't have the hay, you need to know where to buy the hay from. You need to know where to buy your bedding from. You need to know what feed you're feeding your horse and when you need to, buy some more feed, and on and on and on. So there is a lot of initial costs to buying, loaning or leasing a horse, okay? Now if you've figured it all out and you think, do you know what, I can do this, then amazing. So we're going to go on to the next step of buying a horse. Or I keep saying loaning and leasing, but that's going to come under it. We're going to focus on buying, okay? You need to figure out what kind of horse you want, okay? And the most important thing is you need to think about the suitability of said horse, okay? Now, I have worked in, this is not me trying to be rude, but I've worked in quite a few riding schools, and there's one thing that always crops up, and that is that people tend to think they are better at horse riding than they actually are, and there's nothing wrong with that. I absolutely love self-confidence, but when it comes to finding the right horse for you, you need to really know about your own ability. And if you're not currently riding and you want to buy your horse to get into riding, I recommend you go to a riding school first, okay? You get them to assess your ability, and maybe get them to give you some advice of what type of horse you should be looking for. So if you can walk, trot, canter, jump, small jump, and someone asks you what level you are, don't say you're like an advanced rider, okay? That's just, be cautious, okay? And definitely get the advice of a professional. So get advice from a coach or an instructor of what level you're at, and then it will just give you focus, okay? Because you don't want to be buying a horse that is too much to handle, too much to ride, just a lot, because it will most likely put you off, okay? Especially in these winter months where everything's miserable anyway. You need to find your perfect horse, a really good match, and if it's not spot on perfect, then that's fine, but it needs to be an achievable goal, okay? I sound really mean, but I'm just trying to be real here. And if you buy a horse that you get too good for, then you can always sell them and rehome them and buy your next horse, okay? You don't need to be finding your no, that sounds really mean, because you shouldn't just, you know what I mean? You don't have to commit to something that is far out of your comfort zone, because eventually you will get there. You don't need to commit to that, okay? So be realistic, because the worst thing that can happen is if you overhorse yourself, you're not going to want to ride it, and then you're going to have to pay more money to get someone to come and ride it, maybe send it for some schooling, and then send it to a sales livery, something like that. So I want you to really be realistic. So write down what exactly you want, what kind of horse you want, and what would be suitable for you, okay? And then you can start doing your little searches, okay? And there is so many websites. Horse Quest is amazing. It's really good if you're selling as well. There's Horse Mart. There is a few Facebook groups, although you're not technically meant to sell animals on Facebook. There is quite a few horsey groups where horses pop up. Where else could you look? Horse and Hound. Yeah, there's loads of different websites. Pre-Loved's a good one as well, particularly for if you're looking for something local or you're looking for like a project or something like that. They are out there, and you need to ring up and you need to really ask these questions. First thing, my advice, read the advert, okay? Everything that you need to know should be in that advert. So you need to know like its age, its competition history, what it's like, is it good at hacking, is it good in company, is it good to catch? That should all be in the advert. If it's not, then write these questions down. So when you get in contact with the person who's selling the horse, you can ask these questions. But the most frustrating thing for someone selling their horse is to have someone ring up and ask the questions that are answered in the advert, okay? For example, when I was selling Xena, I put on the advert, she has potential to be bomb-proof or something along those lines, but please remember, she was only backed in January, and it was April, May time. Honestly, I was getting 80-year-old ladies ring up saying, do you think this horse will never put a foot wrong because I need something that's super duper safe? And I was like, oh, I don't think a just 5-year-old is suitable for you. So yeah, be clear on what you want. So yeah, if you are looking for a bomb-proof horse, don't be put off by an older horse, okay? They will look after you. Young horses are unpredictable and difficult. Trust me, I've had them back to back, and Cash has given me a very difficult day today, if you can't tell. But yeah, be clear with what you want, ask the questions, and if you find something you think could be a potential match, then definitely book a viewing. If you are pressured to book a viewing really quick and you're not really sure, then just take your time and say you'll get back in contact. If a seller pressures you and said they've got lots of people interested, don't feel like you need to rush finding a horse because other people might buy this one and it might be perfect for you, okay? There's a chance that people go and view and they don't really like it, so don't stress and don't let people put pressure on you either. Okay, so you've booked your viewing. If you are quite rusty in terms of horses, definitely take someone who knows what they're on about with you, even if it's an instructor, okay? You can ask an instructor to come with you, you can pay them, they can come and view the horse with you, they can watch you ride the horse, they can even ride the horse themselves, as long as you make this clear this is what you want, obviously. Don't just say you want to book for a lesson and then take them off in your car some unknown location, and yeah, that probably won't go down well. So definitely have an open discussion with your instructor about the horses you're looking for, and they might even know of suitable horses, which is ideal. At the viewing, ask all the questions you need to, okay? Don't be excited. If it's the first horse you've been to see, don't just be like, oh, I have it, and you're not really sure. Your gut is usually right. That's what I'd go with. Your gut knows. But always just go away and have a little think, okay? Don't make the decision on the spot. Think about how it is on the yard. What's the yard like? Is the yard the horse is currently on similar to the yard it's going to be on? And just think about how that, if it's different, how that might affect the horse's behaviour. These are things you need to take into consideration, okay? Some horses adjust to moving homes quite well. Some horses don't. My horse, my pony. But yeah, these are just things you really, really need to consider. don't rush. That would be my key thing. Don't rush. And if you suspect that something's not quite right, then I would either investigate further or just find your next viewing one. Don't dwell too long. Don't spend too much time focused on one horse. You can go and view a few, and if you really like the other horse but you had some doubts, go and view it again. It'll be fine. Just don't time waste. And if you go into a viewing, don't expect to spend like 4 hours, okay? Because you've got to be polite. Even if it's exciting and you want to spend all your time with a horse, you've got to be polite to the person who is showing you the horse. Okay? So far we've got things you need to consider: finances, suitability of your horse, okay? And then if you decide you like a horse, then as I mentioned previously, you need to think about whether you want to get it vetted or not. And if it fails the vetting, does that mean you aren't going to have the horse? You need to really take things into consideration whether you think vetting is either a yes or no. It's an ultimatum decision, okay? Just prepare yourself for the worst. Don't go into a vetting thinking, oh, it's definitely going to pass, because when I rode it, it felt sound, okay? Just, yeah. Don't get your hopes too much. I'm just trying to be real here, because there's always things that can disappoint you. Okay, so you've done your viewing, potentially had a vetting. Then if you don't have your own transport, you need to also pay for the transport of the animal, okay? There's lots of transport services around the UK and across the world, blah, 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 depending on where you are. But this can be quite pricey, so I'd definitely get a few quotes before you agree for anything. Okay, when you have got your horse, you've got your transport sorted, I'd hope by this point you've decided what kind of livery you are going to be on. And if your horse is going to be at home, I wouldn't recommend ever keeping a horse on its own. Just remember, it is a herd animal, and keeping a horse on the own can lead to a complete change of behaviour. It can lead to stress, and then that can cause many other issues, okay? Whether it's health issues or it's rideability. Okay, so, ooh, my phone is going off. Nothing interesting. Another thing to consider when buying a horse is time. Horses take up a lot of time. If you've got your horse on DIY livery, it is a commitment, especially if you have to go out twice a day, every day. Okay, you're going to have to give a lot of time to the animal. Even if your horse is at home, you still need to go and check and make sure everything's okay. You need to do your night check, make sure it hasn't got any problems before you go to bed. Oh, my phone is going off. This is a bit rude, isn't it? But yes, I think we've covered quite a lot, haven't we? Also, going back to suitability of the horse, you need to, if you buy something that maybe you need to have some lessons and really gel with, you need to make sure you've got enough time and finances to pay for lessons, to get going, to really get to grips with things, okay? And don't be afraid to ask questions, okay? Ring up. Join some horsey groups on Facebook. If you don't have people who are your close friends or people that you can ask about horses, join some horsey groups. Ask on your livery yard, make some friends, start the conversation going, okay? I am, like, for example, if you're finding something difficult, like, people always have suggestions, okay? And if you come across any bitchy horsey people, then that's perfectly normal, right? They're everywhere. Unfortunately, horsey people do have a reputation for being quite bitchy, but that is not always the case, and I do not want you to be put off by that. It doesn't really matter. And if you're on a yard that's got a lot of yard politics, then, I don't know, take some headphones. Or just don't care about other people's opinions. That's always a good one. I've never really had yard drama, which I'm really fortunate yeah, no, definitely not. But be prepared if you are on a livery yard and you think you're only going to be up there an hour and then you bump into someone and start talking. You're probably going to be there for about 5 hours, okay? Because we all love talking about our horses. And that's just the way it is. But yeah, I think those are the main considerations I would say you need to think about before you buy or loan or lease a horse. So finances, livery, you need to make sure you've got enough time, you need to make sure you've got enough energy. But if you go through this list and you think you could do it, then it's amazing. Honestly, having your own horse is the best. Loaning a horse is the best. Leasing a horse, I'm sure it's the best. I haven't done that personally. But yeah, horses are just super. So yeah, if you can afford it and you think you can be a responsible horse owner, then go for it. But yeah, I think that's it for today, guys. I'm not going to bore you too much. I 100% have missed stuff out. 100%. I can't really think what. Oh, also, make sure your horse has got its vaccinations, okay? Don't buy a horse that's not vaccinated and then expect to move on to a livery yard and everything to be fine. Because, yeah, you need to make sure it's vaccinated. And if it's not, maybe get it started where it is at the moment before you buy it. And then when you move it, you can have the top up later on. But you need to discuss all this with your yard manager, really. What else? I definitely just, when you buy a horse, make sure they have seen a farrier in their life. Make sure they've seen a dentist, particularly if they're over 4 years old. If they say, oh no, I haven't had the dentist out, like, poor horse's mouth. Yeah, just make sure they've been well looked after. And if they're not, if they haven't been, then, you know, these things can be corrected, but again, it's more money. It's more money. Yeah, I think that's my main points. I haven't really had any. My only issues is when I've bought and seen, but I'm not new to this, so this is not my first rodeo. Yeah, and I was fine with making those mistakes, but if I had bought this horse thinking it was, for example, Rocket, remember, I thought he was 4 and he was actually 2, rising 3, I think. Yeah, 2 rising 3. And like, that would have really shocked me if I bought him thinking he was going to be my top show jumper. Oh, well, I think I'd need to go and get some help if I thought Rocket was going to be my top show jumper. He was a small feral cob, if you remember, but I hope he's doing well in his new home. Oh, I miss all my old ponies. But yeah, that's it, guys. I'm gonna stop nattering on. What's a good word? Natter. I will do a vlog and an update of my horse situation soon. I haven't really had too much to film, and Cash has been she's been a little bit difficult, okay? So as I mentioned in my last video, she wasn't settling very well, so I got her some Karma, put her on Magic, so NAF Karma, which is called Magic, and yeah, everything was starting to go really well. And then fireworks, yeah, bonfire night, the day after actually, so the Saturday, my ponies were just in their stable, tucked up, ready for bed, and the neighbours let off loads of fireworks, and I don't think they even thought about the horses, to be honest, which is a bit sad. And I was banned from marching up there saying stop lighting these fireworks, because sometimes you just make matters worse. But ever since then, Cash has been absolutely difficult. Rocky, on the other hand, a lovely, gentle little baby, gorgeous. Cash is really, really struggling, and I am a bit stuck with what to do. We need to get through this little blip, and then we should be fine. But I just worry that she's just not settling into the routine here and she needs another yard. But that would be ridiculous, wouldn't it, if I kept my horse on livery even though I had space for her at home? And would defeat the point of me moving, wouldn't it? So yeah, I'll be back soon with an update on those two. And I'm also going to do a bit of stable management, a few stable management videos, because again, if you are getting a horse for the first time, you might not necessarily have done your BHS exams, your pony club exams. You might not have been brought up to even, I don't know, put a head collar on a horse. Like, you'd be surprised. Some people buy horses that just don't know what they're doing, which is fine because you can learn, but it's just finding someone to teach you. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, then please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and yeah, we can make this a regular thing and you can all be my friends. Yeah, let me know. Just leave me some comments below. Let me know if I've missed anything out of things to consider, and let me know maybe some fail stories, I don't know, with buying a horse. Yeah, but anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all soon. Bye guys.